Gary, how you doing?
I think I'm all right.
People do not know what goes on behind the scenes of us trying to get this working every single Wednesday night.
Oh, I know, God's sake. Move that, would you?
Check your cables. Make
Check
sure
your cables. Anyway, let's hope it all comes together, because it always comes together in the end, and
it does indeed. We work hard, all those folk behind the scenes, and of course, all our guests that are ready to come on the show. I'm sure it'll be another smashing show that we've got lined up for everyone tonight.
But let's hope it's plural.
What's that?
Let's hope it's plural.
Plural?
Guests as in plural.
Oh, I guess as in plural, yeah, because we're having some technical issues, folks, with one of our guests. But hopefully, through the power of technology, we will have everything sorted out.
I'm sure we'll be all right. We're sure we'll be all right. And we're winging it this week. Completely winging it. This is without the aid of a safety net this evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Yes, welcome to everyone, as always, who have joined us for Paisley Community Chat. What a week, Gary.
I know. It's been up.
Well, there's been some ups, there's been some downs, there's been some wow, there's been some There's been a whole lot of that stuff going on.
There's been... Really? Are you sure?
Where do we start? I think we've got to start with last week's show. Would that not make sense?
I mean, it was a good show last week. Learned a lot. Reed Kerr, as they called Reed Kerr anymore. Paisley Tech, as they call Paisley Tech. What the hell is going on in the world?
Van
Winkle.
You'll get us into trouble, Gary, with the PR and marketing and comms teams of our respected educational establishments in our town, Gary.
I think they took it in the spirit it was intended, as conversational development.
Absolutely. But we did learn a lot. And I think what we have is quite clear. We've got two fantastic organisations in our town. And boy, do they work so hard on behalf of the good folks of Paisley. And of course, all the students that go through, not just from Paisley, but from very far and wide. So it was great to hear all of the activity they're up to. And we could have probably spent another couple of hours just talking about all the stuff that they do. It was really, really good.
Yeah, that happens every week. Did I mention last week that we were going to overrun?
We're no overrunning tonight, Gary. We're going to be on time tonight, I reckon.
No, but last week?
Last week, Guy, you said we were going to overrun last week, and we did. You were right.
I predicted that. We'll be on time tonight.
We'll be on time tonight. It's good to see. It's good to see some of our friends and colleagues from Paisley community tuning in, and we've got Helena. She's on Facebook right now, but she's having a conversation with everybody else. Helena's hiya. she's clearly the sideshow on the Facebook here. Thank you for doing that. But yeah, we've got some good folks in tonight, and I mean,
there's a request. There's a request, Andy.
The keeper of the time.
It's not going to happen.
The buzzer.
There's a keeper of the time.
The buzzer get buzzed off.
Maybe we should have a buzz week, and we'll come on as to infinity and beyond.
We can't be doing that. So last week we had UWS, West College Scotland, both on, but last week was a big week because we unveiled the name of the new proposed high street cinema, Pixels.
We did Pixels. I think it went down really well, Andy. We get criticised for dragging it out, but such is our style. We've just got to do it like that. That's what we do. You don't want to come on and go, "Hi, folks, we've got 5 minutes to go." We don't want to overrun. It's called Pixels. See ya.
Bye.
That's not our style.
But it was important, Gary, that we told the story because we've taken a lot of time. We've put a lot of effort, and not just us, a lot of other people have put a lot of time and effort into think about coming up with something that was respectful of the past. It represented a brand that could very much take us into the future for both old and young generations. So whether you call it Pixels or whether you call it Paisley Cross La Scala, it's completely interchangeable. That's what we love about the brand. It's very much Paisley. It's old, it's new, it's whatever you want it to be. Own your own brand. PXLS Pixels, Paisley Cross La Scala. And we announced a competition to design the logo, Gary.
Yeah, the competition's live now. You can go on our Facebook, go on our Twitter, and you can, in fact, on the website, paisleytrust.org, and you'll find the details of the competition. But anyone can enter, anyone can put in. There he goes again. Tea break.
Get my usual cup of tea.
Anybody can put an entry in to design the logo. That's what the competition is.
Absolutely.
And we've had messages. We've had messages to each of us. In fact, all of my messages are, "Oh, great name, well thought out, clever," that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
so we're really pleased what the reaction was. We're pleased with that.
It's been great, and of course the engagement on social media has been brilliant. So many tweets about it, so many posts on Facebook, and we do our very best to answer everyone. If you've got a comment that's positive, we try and thank you. If you've got a comment that's constructive, then we try and kind of have a chat. And if you get a comment that's just rude or negative, we defend ourselves where we need to. But the Facebook comments have been really brilliant. I think overwhelmingly, we're moving on to the next stage, the competition. And importantly, the competition is going to have a judging panel, and one of the judges on that panel is going to be the public. So we're going to be opening this up to public vote. So once we've got all the competitions entries in, we're going to create a shortlist. We're going to put them up on our social media channels, and we're going to create a voting mechanism. Public will be able to vote, and that will be continued through the board or the rest of the judging panel for the overall vote. So we can't wait to see what people have got on offer.
Yeah. I likewise can't wait to see all that coming in. So that was the good news, and the social media went sky high, Andy. The numbers are the highest numbers we've ever seen on our social media.
Yeah. Every week it just keeps going up and up and up, which is great. And you're right, Gary. Those were the highs, and then kind of towards the tail end of last week, I think, like the rest of Paisley, we all get a wee bit of a shock, did we not, Gary?
It felt like the timing of our announcement, and then, of course, on Friday in the morning, the rumour mill started. Marks and Spencer's were about to shut. Friday afternoon, it was confirmed Marks and Spencer's were shutting or relocating, whatever way you want to put a spin on that. But definitely, it closed the week, and over the weekend with for goodness sake, we're doing this here on this site, and Marks and Spencer's have just announced that they're going to close that one.
Aye.
Oh my God. And the reaction, I think, over the weekend, Andy, and to now is still being a bit of shock and wondering what it's all about. And I mean, we're interested in what people's thoughts are, and we've got our own thoughts and opinions, but we're not here to say what we think publicly. But we're trying to channel what people are saying. So if you've got thoughts on the Marks and Spencer's situation, then share them with us. Put a comment on.
Absolutely, Gary. And this is Paisley Community's chat show. So it's no my chat show or Gary's chat show or anybody else's. It's your chat show. It's an opportunity for you to voice your thoughts, concerns. If you want to come on the show, we've said that, send us a wee message on Facebook and we can get you on the show. So we can do that. But ultimately, Marks and Spencer's has been a huge talking point this week on social media. Just to clarify, because I think it's really important, that one of the very early assumptions that was very, very unfortunately wrongly made was that this move by Marks and Spencer's was somehow in connection to the cinema. And we were kind of quick to react to that and say, no, it's not. It's in no way connected at all. Our proposal, just to be really clear, is to use the vacant first floor space and develop the roof space of the Bargain Buys building. So the retail will stay, it'll be enhanced. The access to the secret collection will stay and be enhanced, but we're looking to develop the first floor and the roof space. that building, that activity is not connected in any way, shape or form. So I think it's important to know that. And I think once people kind of realised that was the case, they realised that was, kind of the error almost there. But it's understandable. We're all learning. We were all hearing this news first time around ourselves, Gary.
Yeah, that was pretty coincidental, Andy. And just to reiterate that, our plan is for the bargain buy site, and that has not changed. It really was coincidental on Friday that Marks and Spencer's making their announcement that they were closing, that some people, not a lot, put two and two together and come up with five that Marks and Spencer's are moving because a cinema's going in there. Just to reiterate, our plans for Marks and Spencer's, or our plans for the bargain buy site are for that site, and we are no way connected to anything to do with the Marks and Spencer site. In fact, on Friday afternoon, or that day, we were reacting to the news, I would imagine, the same as everyone else did.
Yeah. And however, though, Gary, I think overwhelmingly the majority of people in Paisley want to see something done with the high street. They want to see investment. They want to see new opportunities. And Marks and Spencer's, if they were, able to change their mind, I believe there was a petition out there to try and convince them to change their mind. That would be one thing. But I think more than anything, if they were to leave the high street in favour for another location, the impact, as our community has said, they feel the impact will be pretty significant. People go into the town to go to one or two places, and Marks and Spencer's is the kind of anchor of that. They definitely go there. A lot of elderly people expressed their concerns on Facebook that they just wouldn't go into the town anymore. It was the only reason that they went in. So I think there needs to be a degree of recognition that if M&S are going to leave the high street, that they leave some form of legacy behind. They do something to support the communities to help us rebuild. I think
that's a thought, Andy. I mean, there's precedent for that elsewhere. When we know of other places in Scotland, if you've got such a big icon in the town or anchor in a town, that when it leaves, then it's leaving behind a hole. That a lot of the times that it leaves a legacy behind, it feels obliged to leave a legacy behind because it has devastated that environment. And maybe that's a thought. I know down in Kilmarnock, Andy, down in Kilmarnock, the Halo project has emerged from Johnny Walker, and there's others.
Yeah, there's others. I mean, I've got a wee bit of experience up in Perth. The famous Grouse Edgerington group left the area, and they left behind something to allow a new creative exchange, and there's kind of business support programs running up there. So there is precedent, and it would be really great to hear from people. I mean, ultimately the shock has hit us, but it would be great to hear from people what we could possibly do to turn a negative into a positive. How can the community find the silver lining to this cloud? What is it that we can possibly do? Who can we speak to? What can we suggest? What can we do in order to help move this forward? And there will be some, quite honestly, and we have to accept, Gary, there'll be some that the move will satisfy. It'll satisfy them. They'll be happy with that.
Of course, Andy, but in the round for the town, it's not a good move for the town in principle. Yeah. If it was me and you that were the local MS Marks and Spencer's owners, you'd be saying, right, the market here is not quite right for us, and let's invest in that space. And how do we make it better? Yeah. You would engage with the local stakeholders, council and Paisley First and the community, and maybe us, and say, how do we make it better? What's the issues? Parking keeps coming up. Let's address it. Yeah. But in keeping with other communities looking to take ownership of their high street, that legacy discussion is quite interesting, and the timing of it is also quite interesting in the light of the Paisley Vision having been recently announced. So throwing that all in together, and I think the bottom line is the Marks and Spencer's are very unlikely going to change their mind, and we're going to have to make the best of it. And making the best of it is we've just got to get on the front foot and do something about it. So.
Yeah, it'd be great to hear what everyone's got to say in terms of what we could do. How can we turn this into positive action? What are the options out there? So, good to get your thoughts on that, folks.
Yeah,
but
keep coming back to us with your thoughts on it. Keep commenting on it.
I'll keep an eye on social media. A lot of comments on social media already in terms of a debate between Marks and Spencers and Iceland. Which one's better? Maybe we'll have a poll.
An ice poll.
Well, we might have an ice poll, Gary. But, we'll let that go on, and we'll maybe pick up a few just before we do go on and announce our guest tonight, Gary, because it's really important. A big shout out to Brian Maguire. So Brian was on one of our very first shows. And as you know, Brian runs paisley.org.uk and runs one of the very, I think probably the most popular Facebook page on Facebook for Paisley. Brian contacted us earlier on and offered to host this show live on his channel, on his Facebook page. Not only are we broadcasting on Paisley Community Trust's Facebook page and also on YouTube, we're also broadcasting on the Paisley page. So first of all, Brian, thanks very much. Really appreciate that. And if you're watching us on the Paisley page, hello. It's good to see you.
Everyone. Hi, everyone. I'm nervous now.
Yeah. Oh,
what folk?
More viewers. Right, Gary, what's
anyway,
coming
what you want to... Are we moving on?
We're moving on.
I think, Andy, we're going to overrun.
No, we're going to keep tight. We'll keep tight.
We're good. Come on, rattle in.
Right.
See, I would have been fine if I had the buzzer. Would have been in.
I know.
Right. Go. So, I'm struggling to announce the next guest.
Why are you struggling, Gary?
But depending on technology, are we going to script?
Well, we can see him waving in the black and white room.
I can't see a thing. I don't see what you see.
You don't see what I see, right? We'll bring him in. Hopefully, folks, we're preparing you. We had a wee problem with the technology earlier on. Our next guest's microphone wasn't working for some reason. So we're going to bring him in, and hopefully you can all hear him, or else we might have to try and do something else. So we've got Mike. Right. Mike, can you hear us?
You can hear us, but you can't talk. You're still muted, Mike. We know that you're swearing.
We need to try and sort this techie.
You need to fix that, Mike.
Out. So, Mike, a couple of options. You can maybe dial in on your Android device or check all your wires or whatever. But I'm going to take you back out the stream, and if you can maybe try and do a reboot or try and connect through your Android device, we'll hopefully get you connected, because there's people wanting to see you already, Mike. So I'm going to take you back out, Mike, and hopefully you'll be able to sort your techie problems. All right?
I know Mike's still in the background there. I've got to say, that's a first.
What, the technology not working like that?
No, I'm not getting a word out of Mike.
Well, hopefully
Mike,
a reset. Or just click the link. Gary, could you send them that text, the StreamYard link?
I'll text them it now. This is also a first.
We're doing a bit of live texting. But hey, listen, we have other guests and they're on standby.
Right, you go ahead and folk can watch me doing this.
It's slightly... Mike, there's a mute button in the bottom of the screen, buddy. So we tried that one, Brian. We tried that one.
Oh, we've tried it all, Brian.
Right, okay, so we're going to go on to our next guest. We're on the fly, we're on the hoof. So if it's no bad enough having one Gary on the programme, we're now going to have, to just make matters worse, we're now going to have two Garys on the programme. Gary McCaw, how are you, sir?
He's pretending to carry this to get it up you. Yeah, it's a family show.
I'm looking on.
I know.
I know.
I was just about to boot you there, Gary. I thought we had Norman Collier on the show there with a dodgy microphone.
There, I've messaged him.
I was hoping Mike would kind of really get everything roused up a wee bit, but anyway, you're stuck with me, so let's go for it.
That means you're on for half an hour, Gary, and you're going to miss your dinner.
No, it's all right. It's coming at 1:45. It's fine.
You've got a lot filling in, Gary. So, but I'm sure you'll be fine. We know you can talk. You've got no problem with that, Gary.
We were talking earlier, Gary, about the big coup behind you.
I know. It's.
You've already had a comment.
Oh no, I can't possibly say anything else. You know what I mean?
No, there's been a comment.
Already said enough.
Tommy, that was quick.
Tommy,
that was good.
Same hair colour as you used to have.
A ginger coup.
We want to be sensible on this tonight and do what we were going to do.
Right, okay.
What were we going to do? We were going to have a sensible grown-up conversation.
We were going to have a sensible chat.
Aye, absolutely. Aye. Right, Gary, I've got to start off with yourself. A few folks will know you from around Paisley, predominantly Bianco and Nero. Tell us all about your role in the town, Gary.
Own a coffee shop, had a few other businesses over time. Probably, I'd say Bianco Nero's always kind of been the mainstay of what I've been involved with. I've stayed open right the way through COVID. We've had to kind of think a wee bit outside the box, try different things. When you think you've had the winning formula over this, you've really had to reinvent it again 2 weeks later. So that's it. It's been tiring times, but glad to see people coming back through the door. Glad to see some familiar faces.
Yeah.
So at least half of them anyway.
Gary, remember that week when you opened up the Saporito, and to your credit, you changed the mould. Yourself and Craig at the time changed the mould and raised the bar a wee bit in the town for hospitality and that level of coffee shop. I mean, how long ago was that? How long you been doing this now?
We opened Saporito, that would have been 6.5 years ago now. So just been really amazing just to sort of, when we opened, what you would have classed as coffee shops in the town, there was maybe, I would have said 4 or 5.
I
think by the last count, I really did. We were looking more like 12, 13, 14, something like that.
Yeah.
So we have become quite a kind of town for coffee culture.
There is that.
Mm-hmm. The likes of... Oh, sorry, Gary.
I remember, Gary, you might have miscounted. Do you remember that magician thing that happened in the town?
Yep.
What was that part of again? Was it Small Shop Week or Free for All? So there was magicians. I was part of that. There was 23 coffee shops at that time.
Wow. Okay.
That's amazing, isn't it? So, but prior to that, the standard of them was not what you would class as a Saporito coffee shop. It was somewhere that you would go for a roll sausage or something like that.
Yeah.
So credit to yourself for doing that and sticking with it, and great to see that you're still there and you've opened up again, haven't you?
Yep. We've never closed, Gary.
Sit down. I mean, for the sit down stuff, that started again.
Yep. So a wee bit of a slow start at the middle of last week. We're obviously in the Abbey Quarter, right where the sort of council buildings are. Missing a lot of the council workers a lot at the moment, to be honest with you, especially during the week. It's good to see speaking to other coffee shop owners, but there is people coming back into the town. I know the likes of Elaine, with our new area up in the High Street, ironically enough, away across from Marks and Spencer's, she's been really well received since she's opened back up. It's great to see Brew as well with her coffee garden in County Square. So there is other places that are doing remarkably well at the moment, and as I say, the town people are coming back out with a bang.
Yeah,
really to support local. Really, well, I suppose what is it? The new initiative, Scotland Loves Local, and I think people really are starting to take heed to it. So
yeah, I think that was a tone actually, Gary, that was set very early on, and we go back 12 weeks and we had the provost on, and she was sort of urging us all to think about making sure that when we're going out to spend a 5 or a 10 or whatever it is, if we can spend that local, it will make all the difference. Because even back then, 12 weeks ago, we really didn't know what the impact of lockdown would be. And I think if you're a trader, you've probably been really, really at the sharp end. So you've had to adjust what you're doing. You've had to offer a different type of service in order to survive. What's that journey been like for you, Gary?
I think for me, it was probably easier when lockdown got announced. As everybody in hospitality tell you, the last 3 weeks leading up to it, we never had answers on where the money was coming for wages. Nobody even knew what the word furlough went, to be honest with you. Now we can spell it. That's a start. it's just, we've really went from there. The door closed, the relief was there. We started to kind of pursue things like we've been doing work for the Urban Fox project up in Castlemilk. We picked up a good contract with Barclays Bank again. Very, very lucky just to get that. That was to be going on to the end of September. So, essentially, because we stayed open, we were maybe quite fortunate. A bit of luck, but at the same time, we were sort of around the table and ready for business.
Yeah,
and I think that's where we're maybe just kind of all came together for us.
Yeah.
Again, the sort of anxieties we felt before we before we closed, that's kind of where we're at the moment to a kind of strange extent.
Yeah,
back open, there's just the fear of you're not used to seeing the same faces coming through your door. We've obviously got less seating. There's always the fear of another sort of localised lockdown as well. So we've really went above and beyond to make sure we're giving everybody in our stores, they're actually getting more than the required 1 metre. We've got shields between every seat. So, as I say, we're just trying to make our customers feel as safe as they possibly can.
Yeah, I know in the takeaway side, Gary, you have been open all the way through. You were serving for the front door initially, and then that softened a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, well, we kind of lifted that a wee bit when we put the Perspex screens up. Yeah. Initially, the reason we decided, it was a decision I took actually just to do it from the front door, because you felt as if when other businesses are shutting, you feel as if you've not really got people look at it that you don't have any regard for your staffing that are actually in there. The fact that you're allowing people in to have takeaway. It wasn't the way it had to be, but it just kind of felt like the right decision at the time. But everybody was just writing the stuff in the back of a fag pack and going with it. We never really knew the exact ins and outs of what was the right answer and what was the wrong one.
Yeah, you just had taken it.
Interesting. I'm sorry, Andy. I was just interested to hear Gary saying the impact on the council closing down, or not closing down, but not being there for your business. But that's going to come again. Have any indication of when the council's opening up, Gary?
I've heard through the grapevine, but as I say, nothing confirmed that it's potentially there's going to be some people going back into Cotton Street on August 10th, but I have no idea if that's 100%.
That's a news flash we should have up in the show now. News flash.
Get that along your wee bit to the bottom there.
Yeah, council buildings opening 10th of August. Obviously, there is intention to open the schools again on the 11th of August, so it'll be interesting to see how that's gone. But we've been getting a lot of comments in, Gary, as well. And I think, for perhaps those folks that don't know you and the role that you play in the town, you don't just run a coffee shop and take the money and then do nothing for the community. You're very involved in the community. And one of the things that has come up is from the Star Project, who have been on the programme previously. You've been donating milk and bread to the Star Community Fridge and Pantry throughout lockdown. And another one from Sharon McCauley there, that you've been a true local hero for Star throughout. And I'm sure those are only a small selection of the good work that you've been doing. How does that make you feel, Gary, when you see that appreciation from your community?
The opportunities come up, people ask the questions, so sometimes you just kind of go, yep, why not? I have to say, but with the milk, there was a lot. It was a kind of two-way street with myself and Abercorn Dairies. I paid for essentially part of it, and they donated part of it, so it was a kind of joint effort. Similar with the bread side of things. My mum and dad's, they're family bakers. They've decided to retire, which I've ended up kind of taking over the mantle of that as well. So as I say, I think we're at week 14 with the bread now. Again, this is just down to St Mum Charitable Foundation. I can't even think what we're doing. I think we're doing about 60 to 70 loaves a week. We've donated now for the last 14. But as I say, again, they're contributing to some of that as well. So as I say, it's all joined up thinking. It's a joint effort.
Yeah. Well,
it's not everybody that puts their hand up though, Gary, and does that. So it's credit to you. I was wanting to link the discussion about the council building not being open and having an impact in your business to the conversation me and Andy were opening the show with about Marks and Spencer's. further along. And what you think of that? I mean, I know it's come out of the blue, and we've maybe had a wee bit of time to think about it, and just about what you think inevitably impact it's going to have.
This was interesting because obviously, Gary, me and you chat just over coffee or whatever in the passing, but this I don't think Marks and Spencers will really have all that negative an effect on Bianco Nero, because I look at where I'm positioned in the town. But the first thing I thought of, or the first person I thought of when I seen about Marks and Spencer shutting, was Elaine Fairfield, the Fairfield collection. And now I know you tried to get Elaine on tonight as well, but she had other things on. But in fact, she's looking after her two grandchildren for the first time in weeks, which is great. Good on her for knocking you two ugly guys back.
It was an easy decision.
It was.
As I say, what a lot of people, as I say, customers, they don't realise how close competitors actually are in the town and how close they have to be to one another.
Yeah.
Me and Elaine, we speak maybe, I would say, if not once a week, once a fortnight. And as I say, there is that sort of, where something doesn't affect Bianco Nero, you feel if it's affecting another business, it's affecting healthy competition.
Yep.
It's a bad thing for the town overall.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's...
Yeah, and having to react to that, Gary, and we know we're all going to have to pull together in the shop local, love Paisley, love local thing. Mm-hmm. That needs to be reinforced tonight, and it needs to be reinforced regularly and more regularly. Mm-hmm. People need to, if and when they can, get down the town and spend their money.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So very much Bianco Nero open for business, and you've got all the protection stuff that you need to have in there to make sure that both your staff and your customers are safe, which is really important, Gary. And I think, obviously the point that you made is that, Paisley is a relatively small community of traders, and there is the hope that they all prosper. They're all working with each other, but potentially in that healthy competition way. But if you can all continue to work together, support each other, and up your game, then Paisley just gets better and better. It provides a better offering for people. But we've still got our sleeves rolled up. We're all willing to muck in, Gary.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And all you have to really do, yourselves and Gary, Andy, is just keep doing what you're doing. Keep going out and supporting these businesses like you do all the time. There's plenty like these. Like obviously Mike is never out of Paisley. Mike supports every business as much as he can.
Aye.
All the other business owners in the town all back other businesses in the town. So as I say, all we just need is maybe a few extra customers through the door that wouldn't necessarily always spend their pennies in Paisley. Maybe just give us that wee chance once or twice a month.
Yep. And
we'll put my weight behind that, and I know everyone else is, Gary, everyone that can.
Yeah, and just before we do go on to our musical interlude, which I think is coming up next, and I can see that we've got Mike Dillon back in our black and white room, and he looks like he's on his mobile device. So we're
it's going to work.
He's nodding there. We're hoping that works. But just before we go on, Gary, in terms of all the relevant social media sites, where can people find more about the kind of businesses that you've got running in the town?
Well, we kind of keep up. We keep Bianco Nero Facebook page. Probably that's the best source of information. We've also got our website, which you can find other information on our function suite on as well.
Yep.
So that's pretty much it. I'm afraid I'm not really up with my Twitter and my Instagram, but maybe that's something I've learned for COVID. Maybe get my backside in gear with that.
Gary, when we were talking earlier today, we were talking about open mics, and you were mentioning to me one of the best open mics that you were ever part of, and it's relevant for tonight's show. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I've never been to an open mic where I've sat with a tambourine. So there you go. That's who precedes me here. So
well, here we go.
You told us about the Well Happy Band, and what a great night it was.
It was, aye, but obviously I was sitting there sober, so it really put me in the mood.
Well, Gary Kerr, you're teeing up to an introduction there. Shall we get our next guest on? And Gary McCaw, you can just stick around. We'll just move you about on the screen. You don't need to worry. But over to you, Gary Kerr.
Aye, when we were talking to Gary earlier, we were saying, Elaine's coming on from the Well Happy Band, and he was saying, I'm going to tell you about this open mic in Burger and Keg. It's the best open mic there was. They were all round the shop. They had tambourines. They had all sorts of stuff. So it's really great to bring Elaine on tonight onto the show. Hiya.
Oh, thank you. Can you hear me all right? Yeah.
We can hear you just fine.
Perfectly.
Hello,
Perfectly.
hi everybody. Hi Andy. Hi Gary. Hi Gary. Nice to meet you. Hello.
Hello.
Well, we're well happy that you're on the show tonight, Elaine. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. And you've got a song lined up for us. You've got some form of musical instrument there.
I've got a ukulele.
Fantastic.
I'm just a giant. It's a guitar.
That sounds great. We were going to bring you Elaine on when Mike was on, because Mike was, and Mike will come on and he'll be fine. But we were going to talk about the work you do in mental health and open spaces and parks and how important that is to what you do in life. Before you give us a song, talk about that a bit.
Yeah, well, I was on originally. Mike had asked me to come on. I was a bit privileged, actually, of all the musicians that he knows in Paisley. He's asked me, so that was a very, very lovely thing. And he said he was wanting to talk about fountain gardens and the parks in general in Paisley. And fountain gardens has just been lovely. I don't know if you followed the story, you probably have, but it was quite kind of derelict and run down. And Mike's worked really, really hard to get the place looking lovely. And there's a whole load of kind of newbie projects that are happening within the park. And it all just kind of looks a wee bit like a clean slate for it, you know. And we had a kind of an opening for it in September, and it was a lovely, lovely sunny day. And the crowd was just really, all the people there were really lovely, really laid back, and it was just a perfect day. So I was here just to kind of back Mike up on the whole understanding that, you know, outside spaces are really, really important. I work for Well Happy, which is a business that me and my best friend run. And we do inclusive classes in health and well-being. So we talk about the science behind how you can feel better in the moment, every single moment of the day, if you choose to. And it's all about, you know, it's definitely mindset driven and it's environment driven. And one of the things that you can do to feel better really, really quickly is to just go for a walk outside. Sorry. Yeah, well, happy
that's the fine comment tonight.
So I was just going to mention a couple of things about being outdoors, because there's a whole load of benefits, health benefits to being outdoors. It's a natural boost to your energy, being around a really nice outdoor environment where there's trees and flowers and grasslands. It looks aesthetically pleasing. It's pleasing to look at. People will exercise easier outside because of the surroundings and because of the amount of oxygen that they're bringing into their bodies. It's good to negate things like nearsightedness, because a lot of people, when they're in sitting at their screens, they're only really training their eyes to look so far ahead. But if you're outside in parks looking at the beautiful things about, you're searching for birds or trees over there, and so it's training your eyes to look everywhere, you know. So and earthing and grounding is a major scientific breakthrough over the last wee while. That's got loads and loads of health benefits, and that's just purely from you being outside, you know.
And it's so important during this time of lockdown. You know, people are on their screens much more often. They're not getting out because, you know, of lockdown reasons. The social connections are gone, and it's having a big impact because there's lots to potentially be concerned about, and it's having an impact on their mental health and well-being. So it's great to hear that you're such a fantastic advocate for all of that, Elaine. Absolutely. But you do have a song lined up, is that correct? So what we're going to do is I'm going to put you full screen. So you're going to see you full screen. Now we'll all disappear off. And as soon as that happens, you can intro the song if you want, or you can just go for it, Elaine. All righty.
Okay, thank you very much. Cheers, Andy.
Over to you.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in. This has been a great chat show. It's fantastic to see everybody. I thought I would pick a song from our album because I was talking about how lovely it is to be outside. And because my husband's actually sitting next to me just off screen, and I wrote this song about him and my wee boy, I'm going to sing a wee song called Sunny Day. Okay, here we go. A two, three, go. Ba, 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 da, ba, ba. Ba, 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 da, ba, ba. Ba, 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 da, ba, 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 da, da, ba, 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 da, ba, ba. Oh, summer days, where did you go? I've been surrounded for too long with grey skies and snow. Outside it's dark and oh so cold. Oh, stormy winter's day, how I wish you'd wash my blues away. Take a magic wand, send them on their way, and catch some sunny spills. I used to while away the hours, staring out my window pane, trying to glimpse a little sun. But all I saw was April showers. Every day was just the same. I felt I was missing all the fun. And then love came along, and it felt like I was singing my favorite song. From that moment I knew it wouldn't be long before it stopped raining. Because you're my sunny day. You turn my skies from grey to blue. The seasons change at will for you. You're my sunny day. And if that rain starts falling, that's when you'll hear me calling to see if you can come and play again like yesterday. And in a while we'll see a rainbow fill the sky. We'll head outside and feel the sunshine on our face. Because you're my sunny day. Yeah, you chase my blues away, and you make everything okay. You turn my skies from grey to blue. The seasons change at will for you. No one else can do that like you do. And now everything is brighter thanks to you. Because you're my sunny day. A two, three, go. Ba, 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 da, ba, ba. Ba, ba, da, ba, ba. Ba, 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 da, ba, 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 da, da, ba, ba, da, ba. You're my sunny day. Yeah, 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 yeah. You're my sunny day. Yeah, 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 yeah. You're my sunny day. Day, yeah, yeah. You're my sunny day.
Elaine, oh, that was great.
Sharp heart, my husband.
Oh, trying to look invisible.
That was great. We need to get that in prescription, Elaine.
Oh, that was just fantastic, Elaine. I mean, you know, just social media, just kind of tons of brilliant comments. There's your applause coming in. Love the energy.
Thank you, Lillian.
Tune. There's just so many coming in that I can't keep up with them now.
Oh, it's
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I can just imagine you, Gary, with the tambourine.
I know that.
That was a great night.
I'm shocked you muted me, by the way.
I think we've got the Star Project again. They put it really succinctly. The world needs more happy band. Couldn't have said it better myself.
That was terrific. Really great. Really upbeat. Just what the world needs.
Oh, it was fantastic. Brilliant, and tons of applause coming from social media. We're going to have to say goodbye to Gary McCaw and put you back in the black and white room, Gary, because our next guest hopefully has got his tech working and his microphone working.
Hang about, Gary, though. We'll catch you after.
Sorry, I can phone him if he's kind of get him.
You can hang around in the black and white room for the after show party, Gary, if you really want. Or if you need to boost and get your dinner, that's all right. So, Gary McCaw, thank you so much indeed, sir.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Cheers, Gary. See you later.
Right. Have we got our fingers and toes crossed, Gary?
Oh, goodness sake. This is the last effort.
Drum roll, please.
Let's see. Mike Dillon. Mike Dillon. Hello, Mike.
No! Oh!
Yeah!
That's Mike Dillon. Goodness sake.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Mike. How you doing?
Doing fine. Well done to Elaine. That just lifts your heart, doesn't it?
Isn't it just, Mike? Gives you such a boost. Happy tune.
Yeah.
Great words.
It's fantastic. I wanted to keep Elaine on for just a few wee moments, Mike, because I think you introduced Elaine to the programme and you managed to get her on for us this evening. So thanks so much for that, Mike, and all of your musical experience. Wasn't she fantastic?
Yeah.
Mike, can I say something?
Have I got a delay?
No, it's a chat show, Mike. It involves chat.
All right. Well, okay,
So
I was waiting for you to speak to me.
oh dear.
Yeah.
As in conversation, Mike. I'll spell it out. The words of many syllables.
Can I just say that Gary is quite shy. He done an amazing job by fundraising and feeding the doctors and nurses in the hospital. That was an amazing job.
Gary McCaw, you're talking about.
Yeah, I certainly know you. But I mean, there's an amazing community in Paisley. There really is. Something we're very proud of in all aspects of life, you know.
Yeah. Well, listen, before we continue, Elaine, I'm going to pop you back in the black and white room if that's all right.
Yeah,
fantastic. I'm sure.
Elaine, thanks for coming on. We're going to have you on again if it's always so upbeat.
And your husband's more than welcome again.
We'll get that.
Right, Elaine, I'll pop you back in the black and white room.
Lovely to see you. Thank you.
I'll see you later.
Bye.
Right,
there's Mike. Yeah,
we've got you all to ourselves.
We might have to talk to you back to front since we were meant to be having you on first and finishing off talking about parks.
I was interested in your chat about Marks and Spencer's. I'm not really surprised, to be honest with you. They're also shutting East Kilbride, which for me was a shocker. Because that's a real big site. But Paisley, I know for a fact that as an outlet shop, Marks and Spencer's were very, very happy. It was making a lot of money. But the shop is very, very run down. And I don't know if they want to spend money doing it up. They're desperate to expand on their food, and that's why they're taking the opportunity. But I honestly think in the coming years, Marks will pull out of fashion wear altogether because they have lost it. They've lost the market. They didn't engage with their customers, and their fashions were just wrong. You know, they really have lost it. But as a food company, they will really excel. And I'm pleased to see that they are still a force in Paisley and not people are not really going to lose their jobs, and that's got to be a plus as well, you know.
Yeah, that's interesting to see, Mike. When you obviously your background, if people on here don't know that you've been a retailer in the town for a long, long time, so you come with that experience and you've seen the trends change over the years.
Well, Paisley is going to go through a huge change in the coming years in terms of retail, but that goes for every town in the UK. It goes for other countries around the world. We're going through a global change. And when the internet opened up, the UK grasped it quicker than the European countries did. And you don't know anybody that doesn't buy online now. That's just the way life is. And the high street will still continue. But it's how we adapt to that change. Thankfully, I think Paisley is in a very good position to adapt to these changes. I mean, I'm really excited about the thought of the museum opening up. The museum opening up in Paisley will be an absolute belter for our town. It will bring a lot of people in, and that will build on jobs as well. I can see the high street redeveloping purely because the museum is going to be so successful. I think this is an incredible project, but it's only one. The town hall's getting done up, and we were talking about Fountain Gardens here. I am hoping that by the time that the museum and the town hall opens up, that the Fountain Gardens will be further advanced as well, because that'll be part of the Paisley experience as well.
Yeah, in terms of gardens, Mike, you know, it's a kind of hidden gem in Paisley, really, isn't it? Tell us a wee bit about the background of the Fountain Gardens.
Well, when I was a councillor, that was my patch. I was setting up a tennis association with a group of people. It didn't really work out, but somebody had said to me, can we get something going with the Fountain Gardens, because it's a mess, and it was dreadful. So I set up the Friends of the Fountain, and that developed. We've been let down a few times with promises of help and various other things, but I'm now pleased to say that working with the council now has been different than ever before. I've been working a lot with Cathy McEwen, who really understands the importance of the park and also of the history of the park. You know, it's a great place to go and just walk around and relax. And that's where I played when I was a kid. I just love the Fountain Garden, so I've got a huge affinity with it. But we've teamed up with other people, and Paisley Trust deals with gardens and parks. They're getting us £5,000 of a grant, and what we're intending to do is to lease all the flower beds in the gardens, and we'll work with the community in getting all the flower beds back the way they should be, bringing colour to the park. I mean, initially, when we set up Friends of the Fountain, we had 3 phases lined up, excuse me, and the first one was to get the fountain all done up, which we got the money. I mean, that cost about, I think, just under £700,000 to get that redone, and it was an amazing job they done. Our next project really is to bring back the bandstand. The bandstand was an integral part of the park, and what we want to do is bring in live acts every weekend, whether it's a school band, a folk band, but it's like the park will be there for the community to use all the time. It's an amazing place, you know, and when the fountain was reopened, we were amazed at the number of people who turned up, and there was people who came back to Paisley, and it brought back memories of their childhood in the park. And we've met people from America who just loved the park, and they were really annoyed to see the state it had got into. But we told them what was happening, and they were like ecstatic, you know. So the park is going all over the world.
Mike, when Elaine was on, she was talking about parks and outside space and mental health and all that. I mean, I know that's a big thing for you, and the open spaces and the use of the space, when you can see the park being used for a release for people.
Absolutely. In a few years' time, I think we're going to have a big problem with mental health. And as Elaine pointed out, open air spaces are essential for helping deal with mental health. And I think we're very lucky in Paisley, the number of parks we have. I mean, we now have like Friends of Barshaw Park who are working hard to re-establish that as a real quality park, because it was run down. There's a bunch of girls down in Fergusley who have done the privies up. What a job they've done. Unbelievable. Great community heroes for me. And they've got some funding as well to do other things. And what I would love to see in Paisley is people getting involved with the local community councils.
Yep.
And then getting involved with the council saying, this is what we want for our areas. Because the community councils now have power that they didn't have before.
Yeah. Tell us a wee bit more about that, Mike, because you're Paisley North Community Council. So, you know, what is your role there, and what does a community council do, or what's it got the capability of doing, Mike?
Well, I'm the chairman of the community council, and when I got the position, I decided to have a look at what's happening in my area. So I asked all the projects to come in together. So under one roof, we had the STAR project, we had the Mossvale Community Church, the Disability Resource Centre, and our own community centre. And it was amazing how we all got on so well together. Absolutely brilliant. So out of all that came the idea of having a gala day last year. And that worked tremendously. The park was rammed with over 5,000 people in the park that day. But the weather gods worked with us because the sunshine was amazing.
Yeah, that really was a great day, Mike. We've got a comment coming in from Polly there, which is quite an astute comment and maybe timely. How do people get to know more about community councils and actually get involved in the community council, and how can we help get that word out?
Well, we've worked hard trying to get more people in. We especially want young people to become involved, because it's mostly older people who are running it, and we'll not be there forever. So we need community leaders, and we want that to come from the younger folk who can get projects going. There are a lot of great things happening around Paisley, but we really need to sort of harness all the energies that people have and make it work. And as I said, we're very lucky in Paisley with the people we've got. You know, people love our town. So let's get them all together. The community councils are all off just now because of the corona thing, but they'll come back probably about October, I would hope, depending on how we go. But find out where the community council is in your area. Get in touch with them. You can do it through the council. They'll help you out to get with them and offer your services. You will be taken in gladly, you know.
The first point of call then, Mike, you just council website, type in community council and something will come up there.
Yeah, I think they should. I'm not 100% certain, but I think it should.
Well, what will give everybody your mobile number?
Sorry.
Now, Mike, what we'll do is we'll dig out the information. We'll get that up on our social media, so anyone that's interested in joining a community council can do that. And we're kind of getting near the end of our kind of time. A few wee technical problems there to iron out. But Mike, just before we do say cheerio to you, It would be, and I know you've been in the music scene in Paisley for such a long time. You've met everybody who was anybody. So share with us one wee magic story about maybe a kind of fond memory that you have of being in Paisley and maybe some superstar or stardom that has shone the light on you and what you've been doing. One wee show, a clean one, Mike, that you can share with us.
Always. Well, Paolo Nutini was a customer of mine since he was a boy. And his first album came out, and he was keen to do a wee show for us the day the album came out. And we were trying desperately to get it about 2 PM, but the record company weren't having it. And they said, you can only have it at 8 o'clock at night. And I reluctantly said, yeah, okay. And at 5 to 8, there was nobody in the shop. And I thought, disaster. Within seconds, the place was rammed. You couldn't move. And there was a wee pub in the corner. It's gone now. And people were getting in and nicking chairs out the pub and standing on the outside in the pavement to watch Paolo perform in the shop. And it's one of my proudest moments. You know, Paolo sat up the counter with his guitar and he played away. And it was magic. You know, it could never be recreated. And all credit to him. He stayed for over an hour. He chatted to everybody, signed autographs. It was just absolute joy, you know. And I'm really chuffed at Paolo because he's stayed there. He's had 3 great albums. Hopefully another album will be out this year from him. But you know what? Anytime I see him, he's still the same guy.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't sort of star, sort of chip on his shoulder that some people have, you know.
Aye.
So all credit to the guy. He's been good for Paisley, I think.
A wee message in there from Councillor Divine. Tell Mike to get Paolo to get the new album out. So if you get any influence there, Mike, you have to get his new album. And of course, as always, Paolo
unbelievable talent in Paisley.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Lisa Kowalski, there's no reason why she can't be a star. She's really got star quality. John Rush, I just love John's work. John hopefully will be on your show in a few weeks' time.
Good stuff.
He's got an album out. And there's just loads and loads of other people in this town. A town to be proud of. Proud to be a buddy.
That's a great note to finish on, Mike. And it's to your credit as well for all the work you've done in the town. And we know how the record industries went and music shops have went. It's a real pity that we don't have a music shop in the town that sells records anymore. But we could talk all night, Mike.
Mike, thanks for bearing with us on the technical problems. I'm now going to pop you back in the black and white room, Mike. Feel free to hang around for the after show party. But Mike, Dylan, thank you so much indeed.
See, Mike.
Cheers.
Oh, fantastic.
We got him on. We got him on eventually.
We got him on. We had some technical issues, but we managed to see it through. Another brilliant show, Gary. 3 fantastic guests from Gary on, who filled in initially at the start, which was great. Elaine and then Mike, Dylan joining us finally. So a great bunch of people and fantastic comments on social media as always.
Yeah, it's great. As I say every week, Andy, it's great to hear people's stories. That what I'll say is that's the most we've kind of juggled that show round about in front of ourselves. And it ended up great. It ended up really great.
Got there at the end. We're a wee bit over in our time, Gary, so we're getting to that.
Who would have thought that?
We've got no big announcements this week. We've got no big reveals. We've kind of done all that already. But I guess ultimately, just to kind of start closing the show off, it's to remind everyone of our fantastic Pixels Paisley logo design competition.
Yeah, that's still there. Is it middle to late August is the deadline, Andy? Is it 17th of August?
17th of August. 17th of August. All of the details can be found on our website, which is paisleytrust.org. And if you go to our website, paisleytrust.org, in fact, I'm going to tempt fate here, Gary. I'm going to attempt to share my screen here.
What's on the website? Is it got the thing on it?
Oh, absolutely.
Because the website, if you go on your phone, you don't get a menu. So if you go, it may be best going on our Facebook and looking for stuff, and you get all the links on our Facebook and our social media.
If you do go onto our website, you can see our website there. And this one here, Pixels Paisley Logo Design Competition, you click that.
Yeah.
And there's all the details. You can get the link to the story behind it for Paisley Cross La Scala. We've got all the competition details. Deadline is the 17th of August, and there is no fee to enter, and you can enter up to 3 entries per person that's wanting to enter in. So if you do have graphic skills, and even if you don't have graphic skills, if you want to encourage your children to draw something out, if you want to work on it with someone else and submit a joint submission, all of those things are possible. All the details on our website there, Gary.
Yeah, and the history, the legacy aspect of it, Andy, is quite important. That maybe, I know Caroline Gonley was on last week saying, I know what the kids are going to be doing when we come back.
Yeah,
that in its own is a topic to learn about. And having, let's say Caroline's got 6 kids in her studio, and she tells a story about Paisley Cross La Scala, and the kids, what is that again? It's a cinema. What's a cinema? The movies, all of that. Let's get some graphics going, and they come up with some amazing paintings that might end up being our logo.
You never know, Gary. You never go, and it's open to anyone of any age from anywhere. So we would just ask everyone, we'll put a link up. If you know of anyone that would be interested in this competition, share it far and wide. Entries are coming in already. I understand.
Yes,
We've had 1 or 2 entries in already, folk fast off the mark. And you've got until the 17th of August. So a couple of weeks, don't leave it late. But that's I guess, the big kind of final news, Gary, that we've got.
Yeah, it's maybe something we want to refer back to Mike there. There was a comment on earlier, Andy, that had a very direct link to the community councils. If you're able to find it, Andy, Mike wanted to encourage people to, if they wanted to contribute to the local area, that you can contribute in a way through community councils. And I've seen them operate, and I've seen them coming together. And it's just about local people that Mike did, and bringing people together under the one umbrella in the North End, and they're making a massive difference to that area of the community. So if anyone wants to get involved, if they feel they've got something they want to contribute to the local area, that's what they do. Community councils on Renfrewshire's council's website.
So the details are there, and Paulie, you mentioned this earlier on, and thank you so much to everyone and yourself for the comment. We need to target high schools, get volunteers on board when it's safe after COVID. Paulie, I don't know if you're already involved with community councils, but I think you have just volunteered yourself. So it'll be good to see you getting involved with that, and I'm sure everyone at the council and the community councils will be delighted for all new volunteers. So, I guess, Gary, we're kind of done.
Yeah, so it's been another great show, Andy. I mean, we have overrun, but we've overrun. That was mainly due to the technical hitches at the start. So that's unfortunate. But we've ended up with a great show again, and the guests are brilliant.
The guests are brilliant. Now, Gary, talking of guests, who have we got lined up for next week?
I don't know. Who have you got lined up for next week?
We'll need to get a finger out, Gary, and sort it out next week. We've got a few ideas.
We have got some ideas, but I think see as lockdown has eased, and your life takes a different dynamic, then it gets really busy, and those people that you want to bring on the show, they also get busy, so it gets a bit more difficult. But don't worry, if we've not got guests, there's always us.
I will make it up as we go along, Gary. Why change a habit of a lifetime?
And what we'll do, here's something, we'll just whisper it to each other. See if we can't get guests, we'll get Alain back on again.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, just a happy show. That'd be brilliant.
With the well happy singing of Alain. So listen, Gary,
I've got something up my sleeve though, Andy, and if I can get it to work, I'll get it to work tomorrow, and hopefully I'll let you know about that.
Brilliant. So listen, to everyone, thank you so much indeed for tuning in again on our Facebook page, on YouTube, Paisley Community Chat Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Don't forget to like our page if you can. We've also got Pixels Paisley, PXLS, Pixels Paisley, a new Facebook page under development, so make sure you like that. And of course, this is really important, we're a member organisation. We are made up and represent all of the members, of which there are hundreds of you already that have signed up. But if you're not a member already and you want to join and you want to get involved, paisleytrust.org, click Become a Member, fill out the details. You need to be in PA1, PA2 and PA3. Become a member. We'd be delighted to have you on board.
Simple as that. The more the merrier.
So anyway, Gary, it's good night from me.
Oh, is that us done? Oh, it's good night for you then.
That's your key for we'll right. We'll go
We
for
need to change it. No, we'll change the patter. We'll change the patter. We're going to change it.
That one right now. We've not thought of anything else.
We'll just do a new good night.
Right. Okay. Right, Gary.
Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. It's been a wonderful show. Good night, and don't hurt me.